future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Talent to the forefront, right here on Backline with Jody McBrayer. Exclusively on UBN Radio TV.
We're back. Welcome, friends. This is oh, the applause. I've missed you. Welcome to Backline. Welcome to Backline. I'm Jody McBrayer. I'm your host. So glad you're here. And I am so glad to have in the studio with me a friend. Been a friend for a long time. Haven't seen each other until recently. But an amazing musician, amazing singer, Mr. David Loucks is in the studio. Yes. Once again.
Get that applause going.
It's that. And it's amazing how consistent it is.
Right, yeah.
The same
always,
every time.
Yeah.
That's our audience.
Well, the woohoo really makes me feel special.
I know. Well, and we put that in especially for you.
Well, thanks.
We didn't really. Thank you so much, David, for being here. You have been a trooper, I tell you, putting this together and just asking you to come, and you're like, yes, yes, yes to everything. So I appreciate so much because I know based on this right here, his resume, he is very busy. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this. The premise of the show, it's called Backline, and it's to highlight people such as yourself who really kind of kick some studio butt on a daily basis. But before we get into all of that, I kind of just want the listeners to get to know you a little and tell us like where you grew up and because you're a California boy.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and what burgeoned this musicianship within you.
Okay. I grew up in California, Southern California, in Glendale primarily, and so I'm one of the few that grew up in the LA area and stayed in the LA area. I'm not a transplant or anything. So
aren't many of those.
I grew up playing French horn, oddly enough. From the time I was about 8 years old, I started playing French horn, and all the way through college, got a college scholarship to play French horn at Azusa Pacific University here down the road. Yeah, and
but you sang in college too.
I did. I kind of started singing in college. I mean, I sang a little bit when I was younger, but didn't.
Which is going to be crazy when people hear your voice. By the way, that you weren't singing, which I didn't either. I didn't start singing really until I was probably 16.
Right.
Really singing.
Right.
But
I think I knew that.
I don't know. Anyway, keep going. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's cool. I was playing French horn. Went to Azusa Pacific University, which is, especially at the time, was heavily vocal. You know, like that was the vocal program was the big deal there.
Yeah.
So the choirs and everything. So as it was sort of a, unexpected turn of events that I even ended up at Azusa Pacific University because I didn't even know if I wanted to go to college. So I kind of, my dad convinced me to check out a couple of schools and to audition and stuff. And it was literally like a week before the semester started that I ended up signing on at Azusa, and then they offered me a scholarship, and so it was like kind of seemed like doors were opening, God was making a way.
Anytime there's money.
You're right.
Yeah, that's how my whole family went to Florida, and Liberty. I went to Liberty University, which was a Baptist college, and they stepped up with a scholarship. My dad's like, as much as I'd love for you to be a Gator, school's paid for.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Right. Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Makes a difference. So, even then I was kind of non-committal. So I was like, well, I'll try it for a semester. Of course, once I got there, I absolutely loved everything about college.
Yeah.
But, I went on a horn scholarship, and part of, so by doing that, they kind of decided, the music department decided what my classes were going to be, what my music classes were going to be.
Yeah.
In order to fulfill the requirements of my scholarship. One of those classes was, or one of those requirements was to sing in the men's chorale. So I'm like, I even went into the dean's office and I was like, is there a mistake? Because I didn't audition as a singer. So why would you stick me in this group? He says, well, can you sing this note? La, la. Okay, you're in. Oh. Little did I know they were more concerned about just warm bodies in the group.
Who was it that did that? It was
Dr. Bonner.
Dr. Bonner.
Yeah. So that was his
Can you sing that
audition
love?
process for me at that point.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I got into the men's chorale, and then there were all kinds of singing opportunities there. I found out I could get more scholarship if I sang in a small group ensemble where they would send, like 5 or 6 singers out to sing at churches on Sunday morning and that kind of a thing. Like, oh, I can probably do that. So I auditioned for that, started doing that, and just got kind of sucked into the whole vocal thing and ended up loving it. And
you were in the big choir too, right?
I was. I played in the orchestra, but then, I forget how far into it, but I sang a couple solos with them too.
Okay,
because pulled me out of the orchestra, and it was like a gimmick. Ooh, look, the French horn player can sing.
Well, I mean, I'm sure most people who knew you just as a French horn player when they heard you sing were probably shocked at it. But, I don't know if people hadn't had the opportunity, especially back then, to hear the Azusa Pacific choir sing. I mean, it was really a sight and sound to behold. Like you think about, oh, I'm going to a choir concert, but then you sit there and sing. I mean, first of all, they were, I don't know, it was the most professional sounding and looking thing I'd ever seen. They were so polished. You guys were amazing. And we did a little tour together.
Right, we did.
Which I've often tried to forget. And I spent half of it drunk anyway, so I did forget half of it.
Well, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. But that was back in the day. And we did a little tour together called Disney's Symphonic Fantasy. And somehow I got relegated to be part of the APU choir. I don't know how that happened.
You showed up at the right time.
I did, but it was amazing just to sing with these voices and every single person. I mean, how many people were in the choir?
I don't know, 30 or 40, something like that.
Yeah, and every one of them could sing.
That was so much fun.
They
that
were
was
crazy
the time
good.
of my life. And that was right. That was like the summer, I think, after my sophomore year. So that was right when I started singing.
Did you go to Laughlin with us that time? We went skiing in Laughlin.
I don't know. I didn't.
No, okay. It was a group of us that went to Laughlin. I lost my car keys in the lake. Anyway.
No, I would remember that.
I don't know if you were there. But yeah, that was a great
Look forward
experience.
to hearing that story.
So you graduate from college with this experience both playing the horn and singing.
Yeah.
And you figured out, hey, I might actually like singing.
Yeah. Through the course of what I was doing vocally in college and leading some of those small group ensembles by the time I was finished and doing some vocal arranging and some arranging for the band, that was accompanying those groups and stuff. I just really fell in love with the technical side of singing. So I kind of had my sights set on studio singing, and background like group singing coming out of college. That was really what I wanted to do more than anything else. So, and I was still playing French horn and, doing some gigs there and then trying to get singing gigs as well. Eventually the singing thing just kind of took over. So I didn't really have time to do both.
Right.
And didn't really realize coming out. I mean, it kind of seemed when I was young and naive, it seemed like, well, why can't I do both? But the maintenance of doing both, I mean, in order to be good at French horn, I had to be playing horn all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just two completely different worlds. I didn't realize that until I came out. It's two completely different groups of people.
Yeah.
So to kind of manage a
sort of
career
one or
in
the other.
both
Yeah.
it just became challenging. So
Well, man, let me tell you. I don't know that I ever heard you play French horn, but I sure am glad you honed your vocal chops. Because I mean, I don't know. I knew that you sang. I knew that you were with the choir, but I don't know that I knew how good you really were. And I knowing Tim Davis, who's been a guest of ours or a guest of mine on the show, I mean, he hires you for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't hire hacks. I mean, he hires really good singers. And so I thought, well, I mean, he's got to be decent because Tim uses him for everything. And then listening to your stuff this week, knowing you're coming on the show, I was like, holy crap, you're good.
Thanks,
I mean, what a gift. And so, no offense to French horn because it's one of my favorite instruments.
Mine too.
And I still can pick it out when I'm listening to stuff and I can hear the French horn solo or whatever. It's like amazing. But man, you were meant to be a singer, brother. No question. So let's jump ahead a little bit to, you coming, well, you already lived here, but getting tied in with doing all of this in Los Angeles. What was your first real session thing that you did that kind of...
My first real session thing. Well, my first union thing where I Taft-Hartley'd and had to pay my dues and everything.
Yeah.
was a Barbie commercial that, yeah,
Okay.
oddly enough. It was
I
in
saw
the
that
boy
on here,
band
actually.
phase.
Barbie, it's the first
It's
one.
the first one, yeah. That's why it's first on the list, probably. Yeah, it was a Barbie commercial. It didn't end up doing anything real big. I think it only ended up airing in like Canada or something. So I never even actually saw the commercial. But it was in the boy band, the height of boy band popularity. So it was me and a few other guys that they brought in with this boy band arrangement. And that was just like, yeah, I ended up getting that just right after I had made pretty much my first, real demo.
Yeah.
And gotten a list of producers from somebody and just sent that demo out to various people and just cold called people. And then I got one call back and, I got a few calls back, but that gig came out of that, which was just kind of random. So
nice.
And that was
So that was the first thing.
That was the first thing.
Well, I mean, the thing is like at what point, because it's 3 pages of just nonstop stuff. So, I know that you were a part of the Glee family.
Yeah.
So the entire time. So you started season 1.
I did. Yeah.
Which, not everybody could say that, but that's amazing. Is that how you met Tim, was through Glee?
No. I knew Tim actually before that. I met Tim through some mutual friends in Nashville.
Okay.
A guy named Matt Butler, who sings with New Song.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, ridiculous musician.
He is.
And Drew Klein and some other guys who knew him.
Yeah.
But so they, Matt, knowing that I was in LA, connected Tim and I. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I kind of met Tim in the same way through sort of just a random cold call sort of connection. Where I can't remember if I called him or if he called me, but we connected right away. For me in LA, he was like a breath of fresh air. Just somebody who was actively looking for new singers and, wanting to mentor singers and that kind of a thing. I mean, he just had a really different perspective from a lot of the people that I'd connected with in LA. From the competitive element in LA, it's like, geez, this guy wants to help me, and he's ultimately my competition. I mean, he does all the things that I do, so why would he want to help me?
More contractor than anything else, and conductor and arranger.
Right.
But but he does have a calling for that to help. Which sometimes I'm like, when he does call me for sessions and things, I'll think about it later. I'm like, I'm so the antithesis of who he really wants to utilize. He wants to use the younger, and I'm older, and I mean, no, you know what I mean. He wants to. Anyway, there's no.
He wants to use.
This
good
isn't about
singers.
me. This show's about David Loucks. But so you met Tim and you did the Glee thing, which was an amazing experience.
It was.
For
It
everybody
was
involved. Did you have to do the
career-changing,
whole audition thing at the beginning too?
I did, and that was oddly enough, I didn't get the audition. I didn't get the gig from the audition.
Oh, you didn't.
So yeah, I got the audition because I was in on the audition because I knew Tim. So he
Yeah.
brought me in with several, a bunch of other people, and I was pretty confident in the audition. I felt like, because of my relationship with Tim, and I just felt like, oh, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
I can do this. Which is unusual. I don't usually feel that way in
Yeah.
auditions. I don't know, not too many people do probably.
I think probably anytime I do feel that way, I end up not getting it.
Yeah,
too, so-
right. Maybe
it's
that's
like,
why. But yeah, it didn't go great, and I didn't get the gig. So that was pretty disheartening. I was pretty upset about that. But that's life,
But it must not have lasted very long because you.
Well, again, thanks to Tim. I mean, he kind of stuck his neck out for me a little bit later. I think it might have even been by the second episode of the show.
Yeah.
But he, eventually, kept asking if he could bring me in, and he brought me in for one track, and it went well. And so from there on out, I kind of stuck. So
wow. Well, I know that the core group of people like you and Carrie and Luke and all those guys. I mean, Nikki Leonti and Nikki Anders and all the people. I mean, you guys you've kind of developed such a great relationship, like a family, and so it's great when I do get to sit in on sessions every once in a while and you guys are all together. It's just nice to see you interact. And I'm like, oh, look, my phone is ringing on my watch.
the new
Apple Watch.
Oh, fancy.
I would totally promote it if I were getting money for it, but I won't.
So
Apple,
jealous.
if you want money. No. Okay, so I'm looking at like your TV appearances and stuff, like which Boston Legal is one of my favorite TV shows ever. By the way. And then just the list goes on in The Voice and all that stuff. The one thing that stands out, and we don't have a clip, we actually have a song of it, but and I've thought about this before now because I personally don't enjoy Dancing with the Stars, but my wife and my mother-in-law and everybody, they love Dancing with the Stars. And, and so we tune in, and I've often thought, I'm like, no, that would be kind of a cool gig to sing on Dancing with the Stars, to be one of those people that sings those songs. And I think I was probably listening to you, and I didn't realize I was listening to you. But we have you singing "Stay With Me," the, what's his name?
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Yeah.
Dance, and you singing "Stay With Me." And I want to listen to that before we talk any further about this whole experience and the whole situation.
Okay.
So that people get an idea of what you sound like and how brilliant you really are. So this is David Loucks singing "Stay With Me" on an episode of Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing Contemporary, Charlie and Sharna, and Candace and Mark.
Guess it's true, I'm not good at a one-night stand, but I still need love, 'cause I'm just a man. These nights never seem to go to plan. I don't want you to leave, will you hold my hand? Oh, won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need. This ain't love, it's clear to see. But darling, stay with me. Oh, won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need. This ain't love, it's clear to see. But darling, stay with me.
Charlie and
Yeah. See, people, I told you could sing. Now that whole experience, it's like you're not on camera when you're singing ever.
Right,
Usually,
right.
I mean, were you ever on camera?
No, only occasional
Yeah,
side shots or whatever. And
Right.
It usually wasn't when we were singing.
gotcha. But I mean, it must have been. To me, it would be really interesting to be there and to be singing, and to watch them dancing, and you have to watch the rehearsals and all that stuff too. So it's like, were there any in particular moments where you were like, oh my gosh, this is weird or awkward, or
It was interesting to get used to, because it's a live music gig
yeah.
on TV, which is a little bit daunting because,
if you mess up.
Yeah, right. And there are a whole lot of things in the chain of things that can go wrong, of
Sure.
course. So, and nobody knows what's going on in your in-ear monitors. So like if something goes wacko in there, we had a couple of times where there'd be, where like the click didn't happen that was supposed to count the song in. And there were certain, with dancers where you're lining everything up,
Right.
it's like that stuff's got to happen at the same time. So there were like, there'd be like a full-on just string intro with no like concept of rhythm or anything like that, where we just and one dude was responsible. The guy next to me was responsible to give the 1, 2, 3, 4, but no click. And that was one that just kind of miraculously came together.
Yeah.
So it's on the it's season 18. I think it's on the finale episode, actually.
Season 18. Good grief.
Yeah, well, they do 2 seasons a year, so it's been 10 years,
Yeah,
20
but I mean,
seasons.
still, 10 years for any show.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it's been on that long. But it's wildly popular. So how did you end up getting that gig, though? I mean, did you have to audition for that as well?
I had to audition for that, and that was I almost didn't go to the audition because I wasn't sure that it was going to be a gig that I liked for a variety of reasons. I wasn't sure that I was going to fit in well there. So I almost didn't. I was grateful to get the call for the audition. It was a invite-only audition. So ultimately I figured, well, I should at least go to the audition,
right?
And, see what happens. And I can always say no if I decide it's not right for me. But, So I, got myself together and went to the audition. The audition went well, and I ended up actually getting kind of appointed as the point man for the vocals. So
good.
So I was kind of running the vocal group.
And there were two others
doing,
besides you, right? Or is it three?
There
or
were
four?
3 others.
Okay, 3 others. So there's 4 of you.
Yeah. So I was doing vocal arrangements and running rehearsals and that kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
So
Wow. Well, okay, so I asked you this sort of off the air before we got started, but it's like, you're with your list of accomplishments and the things that you've done. I mean, is there any moment? I mean, you've sung. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But you've sung on all kinds of different things. Is there a moment where you've sat back and you've said, "Okay, this is amazing"? Like of all the times that I've ever dreamed of doing something like this moment right now, this is incredible. Can you think of one like that, or is there too many? Or if there's more than one, you can.
There's definitely more than one. There's
Okay.
several moments like that. I mean, they're rare, of course, but
sure.
But yeah, when you have those moments, it's memorable for
Yeah.
sure. Dancing with the Stars, there were definitely moments like that. It was usually after the fact, because in the midst of it, it's like
You're stressed and
chaos
sweating,
and adrenaline, and you're just going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually the reason that several of them are with Dancing with the Stars. There's one that happened at like a church event, oddly enough. So it's not always, like big, awesome parts of life.
yeah.
But for me, it's always those moments where I'm thrown into a situation almost and expected to accomplish something that I don't know if I can do.
Yeah. And then you
actually do it.
Yeah.
And kind of step back outside of that moment and realize, wow, I did it. I could do that. I didn't know if I'd be able to sing that live, which is
Right.
why it happened with Dancing with the Stars.
Are you generally a secure person? Like, do you?
Probably not.
Yeah, see, I'm not at all. Like, I think people think, oh, you do this stuff all the time on Facebook, and I'm
No,
like,
it's-
I'm not. Like, I hate singing in the studio. Like,
Okay.
I'm
Well,
very-
we're opposites in that regard.
Oh,
yeah.
I would much rather sing live. Like, that's why I thought
okay.
that the Dancing with
You
the Stars
should
thing
be
would
on
be
Dancing.
great.
You would be
Yeah.
perfect on Dancing
Because
with
I
the
love
Stars.
singing live. But
Too bad
but
I'm not on the show anymore.
The studio,
I would've got you in.
I start sweating, and I'm like, oh, it's miserable. So you said Dancing with the Stars. Do you remember a specific moment that you were watching back and you're like, gosh, that was beautiful? I mean, because I will say there have been a couple of moments that I've watched, and probably the last season I've watched more than any of them because I don't know why, I have, where the music and the dance comes together, and the delivery, and it's a lot. I mean, if you're distracted by a horrible singer,
Right.
seriously.
Right. Well, that's the
But
that's
the
thing
music and the
about
dance
show.
come together, and you're like, dang, that was really good, So was there a particular moment with that?
Yeah, again, several. I mean, most of it, like for me, I'm a baritone second tenor.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
again,
So-
you sing tenor and bass sometimes in
Right.
sessions, which I'm like, who does
Which
that?
is kind of the life
I ain't
of a
singing bass.
baritone. Well,
But I sing alto.
Not many people. Yeah, right. Not many people can do what you do. But yeah, I mean, so guys like me have to figure out how to basically, if we want to work,
Yeah.
I've got to stretch in one
Yeah.
direction or the other, if not both.
Yeah.
So, and especially for solo stuff, most solo stuff is obviously in a tenor range. So
Yeah.
I got to push that. So kind of the challenge for me, like on Dancing with the Stars, is, I've got to try to make myself as versatile as possible.
Yeah.
Or I won't get, there are so many different types of songs happening on the show. It's like, well, we better call somebody else because David can't sing this high, or David can't, whatever. So I had
Yeah.
to constantly prove that, no, I can sing those notes. I can do it. I'm not sure if I can do it, but no,
Yeah.
I can do it. Hire me.
Well, you just never say no.
Right,
You never
exactly.
say no. And it's
Can you
better,
do that? Yes.
It's better to ask forgiveness than
Now I
permission.
gotta go figure out how to do that.
Exactly. So then you go up and you're like,
So yeah, there were some songs, and some of them were like really exposed, because the dancers
Yeah.
would have all kinds of input into how they wanted things arranged. Sorry, and so there were some things where like all the instrumentation would drop out, or it would just be me and the soloist and just like a one violin line or something like that. So it was like, if you blow it, everybody's going to hear, and singing in the stratosphere sometimes. So those were the moments where you're like sweating and sweating and sweating. And of course, what people don't realize is not only are you singing it on the show, but you've been like you had to get there at 5 in the morning for
Right,
rehearsals to start.
yeah.
Doing rehearsals all day long. And then, so when you get to that point in the show, and it's a combination of adrenaline and I hope I can just keep my eyes open at this point because I've been up for so long.
I know. And people, it is difficult to sing when you do not sleep. I'm just gonna I'm gonna share that right
Absolutely.
now. Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah. Well, okay. So you said that there was a moment in a church experience too. Let's talk about that because we love church here. We love Jesus.
Okay, so this was down at Saddleback Church in Orange County where it was actually like a voice kind of a coaching sort of thing that Gerald White, who's a phenomenal vocal coach, was down there. He was running this session with just a bunch of people, like a room full of people.
Yeah.
Sanctuary full of people. I don't remember exactly how many, but so he was pulling people up to use as examples, and he wanted to pull Tim Davis up, but Tim said, "No, take David, make David do this," because he didn't want to do it. So he pulled me up there to do vocal exercises, which oddly is like really like intimidating in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do vocal exercises in front of people. What if my voice cracks? I don't know. So, to do this thing. And then so he's like, okay, so let's sing, what's a hymn you know? Okay, we'll sing this hymn. And he starts playing. He picked the key. Yeah. And again, it was a I don't know if I can sing these high notes thing. So he picks this key and I'm like, but I didn't have time to like question it.
You just have
so
to
you just
sing.
go. Mm-hmm. And that was one of those moments where it was like, okay, if I don't question myself, if I don't second guess, what God's called me to do, what I believe I'm gifted to do,
what you're equipped to do.
I really can do more than I know I can.
Of course, I think that's the key too. I think we all have to push ourselves a little bit more than we think we can, and if we all stay where we feel safe or where we feel like we can get the job done, then I don't think we ever grow. Right. We have to push ourselves. And they used to joke with me all the time when I was in Avalon about how I would just go for it. If I didn't make it, I didn't make it, but I would go for the high note every time. And there were some nights where it was just like, it wasn't there, but I would go, because it's like, I'm not going to wonder, oh, I should have done that. I could have done it better, And so the nights that it was there, it was awesome. I was like, yay, this is great. But, there were a lot of nights where it wasn't there.
Well, you do that many performances and it's going to happen once or twice for sure.
Well, but I love the fact that you push yourself and you challenge yourself. It's something that I need to learn. And I think every musician, we do get in a comfort zone. We hide behind a guitar, we hide behind a piano, and, we just sing our little measure of notes that we're comfortable with. And it's like, I was talking to someone I think as well, I won't say her name, but she's a recording artist, and we were talking a couple of years ago, and she had made several records that were just kind of flat. You know what I mean? I mean, she's an amazing singer, but she just wasn't pushing herself and challenging herself vocally, and people want to hear that. They want, if they have an expectation of you vocally, they want to hear you push yourself vocally.
Right.
And not be lazy. And I don't know that it's laziness, it's just complacency probably. But, I told her, I said, I'd love to hear you on this next record that you're trying to do. Really push yourself and challenge yourself vocally, because that's the stuff that people want to hear. And, and she's like, okay. And then, she just recently made a record and she's pushing herself vocally, and I'm like, yes, it's so much better. I love it. So push yourself, challenge yourself. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about too, and we've never really talked about this. We've touched on it with other people that I've had in, but just the body of work that you have regarding film itself, like actual, studio productions, films, Body of Lies, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Watchmen, Ice Age 3, Soul Surfer, Disney's Winnie the Pooh, The Muppets, Rock of Ages, Ice Age 4, HBO's Behind the Candelabra, the movie Epic, Monsters University, After Earth, A Million Ways to Die in the West, Disney's The Pirate Fairy, Disney's The Muppets Most Wanted, HBO's The Normal Heart, and Jurassic World.
Yay.
For Pete's sake. Talk about being in those sessions and singing on these soundtracks, what it must be like. Now, does Tim conduct a lot of those? Or
he does when he's contracting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's
but I mean,
usually
those all haven't been Tim Davis things.
No,
though.
no,
Okay.
no.
What is it like to? Well, okay. First of all, what's it like to be in the session? Let's talk about that for a second. And to know what you're singing for, because you know what you're in there singing on, right?
Yeah, usually. It's an interesting experience. It's completely different. You know, those are reading sessions, so you're thrown into a situation where you're standing usually on risers, and there's a stand in front of you with just a book of music, book of cues, that you pretty much are expected to kind of read down. Which is a little intimidating. Depending on how comfortable you are with that kind of a thing. But, for a lot of singers, reading isn't necessarily the
probably being a horn
strength.
player helped your reading.
Being a horn
quite
player
bit,
definitely
If you play
helped
an
my
instrument,
reading. But even so, I mean, it's still different than playing an instrument. It's tough to sight sing for sure.
It is.
And there are some really good sight singers out there, like you wouldn't believe. But
I am not one of those.
I'm aspiring to be.
I would love to be.
But yeah, it's a fun challenge in that regard because
Yeah.
you're just getting through this stuff quickly, and it's a
Do they
big
walk through it
production,
with you
so-
at all?
Sometimes
Yeah.
it just kind of depends
How difficult it is? Or,
Yeah, if it's super difficult, and what the time frame of the deal is,
Is the score finished when you're singing?
pretty much.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll make changes. I mean,
All
there
right.
there are changes that happen,
Because I didn't
when
know.
you're there.
I didn't know if sometimes you just sang to like a piano or something, and then they'd put the vocals in later, or if the score you're singing to the actual score.
Oh, the score we're listening to. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, usually the instrumentation is done beforehand. I mean, it's not like mixed and,
Yeah.
finished, but it's
gotcha.
we're listening to. Usually, it's those one-sided headphones that are like the worst creation ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
terrible. And clamped to the other side of your
and
head.
especially when it's a full orchestration in your one ear, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is.
I know, and you have to keep switching back and forth so that one ear doesn't. Yeah, it's like cauliflower ear after about 6 hours.
Totally.
So then singing on that and reading all that and putting the work and the hours that must go into some of that stuff. Let's say, for example, Jurassic World, which I just saw this past weekend. I'm so slow behind it, but it was It was unbelievable. I loved it.
Yeah.
But you go and you sit in the theater afterwards and you listen to this and you're like, oh my gosh, that's got to be one of those aha moments where you're like, dang.
Yeah, that's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. It was a huge choir.
And your kids, all these Disney things, your kids, you're like, Daddy's
Right.
singing on that. It was like, hey, you're like,
Yeah, it's fun to watch those films with your kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, whenever it's a big kind of, blockbuster movie like that, it's
Yeah.
you really get the sense that wow, this is cool.
Yeah,
this is
that's
exciting. And yeah, usually there's the screen will be behind us, where so the conductor's watching the time code go by so that they can conduct to.
So the actual footage.
Yeah. So the footage, the raw footage of that scene is
That's
happening
cool.
while we're singing. So when you have like if it's just the ladies singing and the men are resting or something, and we'll turn around and watch what's going on the screen.
No, of course you do. That would be awesome. I don't
Yeah, it's
even.
fun.
Yeah, I have yet to be on a session for that, and that would be a dream. So
Oh,
Tim
yeah.
Davis, if you're watching,
You need to be.
or whoever. I am working on my reading skills. I'm trying to. But okay, well, let's listen to another song. I want to listen to another song, and one
Okay.
that's a little bit more isolated vocal wise, because I know the Dancing with the Stars thing was great, but it was live, and there was some dancing distraction going on.
And
So this
noise
is
and
just you and
crowd
your vocal.
noise.
So this is a guide vocal. You were one of those people that sang for Glee, and this is one of the guide vocals that you did. A song called "Let Me Love You." Yes. Tell us about this.
Okay. Yeah, this was one of the guide leads that I got to do, which wasn't really a regular thing for me to do guide leads. I did mostly
Mostly
group stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really what I love doing more anyway. That's just kind of how I'm wired for whatever reason.
Sure.
But love the group stuff. Even when I'm listening to any kind of a song, I'm listening to the background vocals more than I listen to the lead
Yeah.
usually. So I got to do the lead and the background vocals on this. I did all the background vocals, and a couple other guys layered in with me on the background
Cool.
vocals on this. But this one sort of happened by default. As I'm sure the other guests you've had have told you about Glee, there were often several things going on at the same time, and this was one of those days where there were a few different songs happening in a few different studios
yeah.
the rooms in the studio. And so this was fun for me because this was one where Adam and Tim, guys running the show. Adam said, hey, I need you to go like figure out go write out the background vocals and, work this out and then come in and lay down this lead. And it was actually somebody else that was supposed to do the lead, but they couldn't come in that day for some reason.
Gotcha.
So I kind of got it at the last second. So.
Well, then we get to listen to it. This is Let Me Love You.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Baby, I just don't get it. Do you enjoy being hurt? I know you smelled the perfume, the makeup on his shirt. You don't believe his stories. You know that they're all lies. Bad as you are, you stick around, and I just don't know why. If I was your man, baby, you never worry about what I do. I'll be coming home back to you every night, doing you right. You're the type of woman, serve good things, full of diamonds, a handful of rings. Baby, you're a star. I just wanna show you you are. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. Baby, good love and protection. Make me your selection. Show you the way love's supposed to be. Baby, you should let me love you, love you, love you, love you. Yeah. Listen, your true beauty's description looks so good that it hurts. You're a dime plus 99, and it's a shame. Don't even know what you're worth. Everywhere you go, they stop and stare, 'cause you're bad and it shows. From your head to your toes, out of control. Baby, you know. Baby, you what I do. Back to you every night, doing you right. Deserves good things, a handful of rings. I just want to show you you are. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. Oh, baby, good love and protection. Make me your selection. Show you the way love's supposed to be. Baby, you should let me. You deserve better. You know you deserve better. We should be together, baby. With me and you, it's whatever, girl. Hey, so can we make this thing ours? You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give everything you need. Said every day, will you take me, baby? Love's supposed to be. You should let me love you. Give you everything. Baby, good love and protection. Make me your selection. Show you the way love's supposed to be. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. Baby, protection. Make me your selection. Way love's supposed to be. Yeah, let me love you.
I mean, shoe throwing. Shoe throwing. Jarvis is even clapping up in there. That's nice. I like that.
Thanks.
I'm gonna sing that all day. Love you.
It's a good song. It was fun to get to sing that one.
Okay, nicely done.
Thanks.
Nicely done. I wish we have more. Do we have more? Did you bring more?
More songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are more songs if you
I
want
don't
to.
know. We might need to pull something else off of that. I don't know if we can, but that was real nice, Clark. Okay. So I want to talk
Real
about something else. I got something real nice for you. Okay. When I moved to California for, I guess it was 1992 or 3 or something like that.
Okay.
You told me the guy's name today. The guy that for Ray Conniff. What was it?
Dave Terrio?
Dave Terrio was his name.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how he found out about me, but called me and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in singing for Ray Conniff?" And I was like, "Who?"
Right.
I have no idea who that is.
You mean Harry Conniff?
Yeah, I'm like, Harry Conniff? Sure. He's like, no, Ray Conniff. And so I said yes. I signed on because I needed work.
Right.
And it was the most interesting and unusual gig ever. And I only did one little, like I came in, I remember practicing in this room.
Yeah.
And then we went to South America and did this little South America tour and came back like Santiago, Chile, Rio, and I think we went to Sao Paulo. No, we went to Buenos Aires, went to Argentina. It was crazy. Well, then I'm looking at your resume and I see that you were a Ray Conniff singer for 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. It's like, I don't know if you know who Ray Conniff is. What exactly was he? Because he wasn't a singer.
No, he was a band leader, kind of in the Lawrence Welk vein, I guess.
In the 70s, right? Or was it the 60s?
I'm not sure what his heyday was.
Yeah.
But he was always huge in Brazil, so he continued to be huge in South America, and which is why we got to do those tours. Like even late in his life, I think he was 85 on the last tour I went on with him.
Well, yeah, because when I went with him, he was probably 75, and
Right.
he seemed old then. Like I'm like, how is this man doing this?
Yeah.
So
He had a
for
lot
you
of
to do
energy.
it 10 years later, I'm like, holy cow.
Right. Yeah. Those were fun experiences and just wild.
Did you
Very
travel with a
different.
group of people, like 5 or 6 people, or?
It was 8 singers
Maybe
and
that's
a
what it was.
full big band.
Yeah,
so,
full big band.
yeah.
The band
So it
was
was
amazing.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
were singing, like you would sing horn parts.
Yeah.
That's what so you would sing these like trills and stuff and like
Right.
yeah big da da da
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, da da da. I mean, it
Yeah.
was weird stuff like that.
Yeah, we did a lot of doubling of horn lines and that kind of a thing. A lot of what he called scatting, but it was different than any other scatting that I never heard because it wasn't improvisational. It was like all spelled out, and it was like, kind of different scat syllables than. Anyway.
Well, and it's sort of, here's the thing is like I listened back to some of it, and it was sort of like it was the mood music of the 70s almost. Like just the sound of it, and we don't have it.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll edit something in right here of a Ray Conniff. But it's just interesting that we both did that.
It was so much fun. I mean, it was kind of totally out there for what I normally do.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not, I don't do that much live. But yeah, that was at a point
But
in
it was
my career
great part
too.
singing.
Yeah, it was. I loved that element of it.
Yeah.
I love singing with groups, like I said. So
Well, you did it for 3 years, so you must have.
Yeah, and really, I mean, that 3 years encompasses like 2 South America tours, and then a couple of little things here, like a couple of recordings, and a couple of shows in the U.S. But so it wasn't like I was on the road with him all the time.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing that much back then. Yeah, it was. They were super fun gigs. Those tours in Brazil were great. I mean, I just loved every minute of being in South America.
Yeah.
People were amazing. And it was fun. It was kind of like, it was a weird rock star experience because he's so, I know. The people were going nuts.
People were hitting the side of the bus and stuff when we were driving away, and I'm like,
it's like, this guy, it's like he's Elvis or
I
something.
know, and I felt bad for not knowing who he was.
You should.
Yeah, I know now, obviously, and I've done my research. Thank you. But yeah.
Yeah, that was good fun.
Well, okay, so live experiences for you. Like, I mean, you don't do a ton of live stuff. I mean, I would say most of your stuff is studio. But, I mean, as far as live experiences are concerned, like, who are some people that you've enjoyed singing with? What's something besides Ray Conniff?
Well, I sang with David Pack for a few years,
Yeah.
which was great fun because, I mean, again, that's like that. It's like the pinnacle of vocal music.
Sure.
I mean,
I was
to
gonna
sing
say that part
backgrounds
singing too, yeah.
for David Pack, who was Ambrosia's frontman, for those who don't know. So yeah, I mean, those were fun songs to sing, and his shows were always fun because he's crazy. He'll just launch into something else entirely different. You never know what's going to happen, so he's always calling you out to do random things.
Nice.
So yeah, it was fun singing with him. And I sang with a group called Impact for a couple of years. That's an a cappella group, kind of in the Take Six vein, kind of 6 guys. Not the same as Take Six, but kind of in that genre. And again, for me, that kind of group singing is like, that's what I have the most fun doing. Not even soloing with them necessarily, but just like singing my baritone or tenor part, and just kind of fitting in with the group and making music that way is my favorite thing to do. But those were fun experiences.
Well, you're solid, man. I mean,
thanks.
so solid. It's incredible, actually. So you sang with Bret Michaels?
Yeah, I did. That was that was fun.
I mean,
he was
no
really
disrespect to
cool.
Bret
He
Michaels.
was really
I've heard
cool.
he's super kind,
Yeah,
like a great guy.
He was really great to us.
Yeah.
And that was just a show with several artists that it was a Grammys event, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like a Grammy promo event or something where there were a bunch of famous artists there, and I was hired as one of the background vocalists to sing for all these artists. So we were. Yep.
And you sang with James Ingram?
James
Ingram. Love James
Yeah.
Ingram.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He was really cool.
And then Sandy Patty, for Pete's sake. When did that happen?
Patty. That was years ago
Was it
too,
years
and
ago?
that was courtesy of Tim Davis once again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she did a live television thing that we sang background for, and a couple different things.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I have some Sandy Patty stories I could tell you one day. Okay, so and then there's some stuff listed in the other media section that you put. But I'm assuming like some of these might be commercial things and stuff like that.
Yeah, and video games. And weird
which
stuff.
how cool is that? The Legend of Zelda,
Super
for Pete's
cool.
sake.
It's so much fun. I mean, nobody would necessarily know what that's about, but but yeah, it's totally fun. It was really cool music.
So it's probably similar to like doing like a score or something for a
kind of
for
like a
movie,
film session.
score.
Yeah, those
Not a
ones
score,
were
but
at
a
least
film session.
Yeah. So
The Academy
the Zelda
Awards
thing,
sang with Gwyneth Paltrow.
the Elder Scrolls Skyrim thing. Yeah,
Is Skyrim I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know. I'm not really a big video game guy either.
Not a
but
gamer.
like, it was funny when that gig came up, and some of my more geeky friends found out that I was singing for that. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're singing for Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls! That's so awesome!"
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. It's like
I had no idea what it was, but
yes, it is.
apparently it was super cool.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Skyrim, the Elder Scroll. It just sounds like. Oh my gosh, it sounds like you've got.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, seriously, if you like Google that stuff or like YouTube, look up YouTube videos on those things, there's like, I mean, people are just gushing over that. I mean, every element, the music, they're like, it's so great how they wrote the men's parts for this thing because it really brings out the, oh my gosh.
What is it? Is it like
video game?
Is it like a? Is it like a Hobbit? Like a?
Yeah, kind of. It's like a fantasy sort of.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Skyrim.
I mean, it actually is really cool.
I'll
but
have to-
I'm just not a video game.
I'll have to check. I'll have to check that out. Hold on. I can nap at home for free. Okay, and you've done some Disney stuff too, which is great. I've done a little Disney stuff, and I love doing the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot more than me.
Actually,
so.
yeah, one of my favorite gigs of all time was the Disney Soundsational Parade.
Yeah.
That was just so much fun because it was there was a lot of vocals.
Yeah.
And again, just really challenging stuff and just super fun, crazy parts. Just again, Tim Davis arrangement.
Well, Tim is a freak, of course.
And Mark Hammond.
Yeah. Well, and I've done a couple of things with Mark for like Tokyo Disney things like that. But anyway, dude, we could talk on and on and on and on and on about your stuff, but ultimately, I just want you to know, from knowing you for a long time, knowing you to Zoo Specific, and just seeing this body of work now and everything. I mean, I'm just like, as an old fart, I'm super, super
What are you,
proud
like
of you.
3 years older than me?
Yeah, so as someone older, I'm super proud of you. No, seriously,
Thanks, man.
I appreciate you so much coming on and talking to us about all this stuff. And yeah, you're brilliant. And I'm gonna find another song and we're gonna edit it in after we talk so that we can let them go with the song. But
All right.
ladies and gentlemen, David Loucks, thank you so much for being here. Yes. You feel special?
I do.
Okay.
I always feel special. And
I'm
a little bit
Jo-
uncomfortable. But,
No,
you know.
I'm just honored that you're here. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Jody McBrayer. Thanks for joining me for Backline. We will see you next weekend or next week. Until then, have a great one. God bless.